It was the height of summer when the Karen sisters decided to invite 100 people to camp on my land. First, I thought it was a prank. Then I realized they were serious. They had sent out invites, complete with maps and instructions on where to set up tents, all on my property. My jaw dropped. 100 people on my land? Without permission. Unthinkable. I drove out to survey the situation and found tents scattered across my pastures, campers wandering through my gardens, and the Karen sisters directing traffic like they owned the place. Their arrogance was breathtaking. I could see the confusion on the faces of some campers. They clearly didn't realize this wasn't a public campground. Instead of confronting them immediately, I decided to let nature and a few legal safeguards teach them a lesson. I had recently installed a small herd of bulls to manage the land. They were well-trained, docile when approached correctly, but fiercely territorial when challenged. With a few well-placed calls and signals, I guided the bulls toward the intrusion site. The results were immediate. The bulls didn't charge aggressively, but their presence caused enough alarm that campers began to retreat. Tents were collapsed, chairs abandoned, and people scrambled to escape the pasture. Meanwhile, the Karen sisters stood in the middle of it all, their mouths open in disbelief. They had underestimated the consequences of trespassing on private property and underestimated me. I approached calmly, letting the chaos speak for itself. "This is private property," I said, my voice carrying over the commotion. "No one is allowed to camp here without my permission. That includes you." The sisters tried to argue, but the campers had already fled, and it was clear who was in charge. By the time the local authorities arrived, summoned by some panicked campers, the situation had already resolved itself. The Karen sisters were forced to explain why a herd of bulls had chased their guests off my property, and the legal implications of trespassing became painfully clear to them. I provided evidence of ownership and reminded them that their actions had real consequences. The lesson hit hard. The sisters learned that my land was not theirs to command, that my rules were absolute, and that trying to manipulate others into breaking the law would backfire spectacularly. The neighborhood got to witness the spectacle and the rightful assertion of property rights, and word quickly spread about how the Karen sisters had been outmaneuvered by both nature and authority. By the end of the day, my land was peaceful again. The bulls returned to their usual grazing spots, the tents were gone, and the sisters had been thoroughly embarrassed. I walked through the pasture, surveying the land, satisfied that the message had been delivered. Trespassers will face consequences. Entitlement has limits, and my ranch is not a playground for anyone, no matter how bold or persistent. The Karen sisters would think twice before attempting anything like this again. Meanwhile, I enjoyed the quiet evening, knowing my property and my authority remained intact. The cows grazed peacefully, the sun set over the hills, and the lesson was clear: respect my land or face the natural and legal consequences.